Seattle is strengthened by the brilliance and resiliency of our diverse community. The diversity is also what drives and enriches Seattle Center's Festal. The 2021 Festal theme, Where the World Gathers, links together the series of 24 free festivals presented throughout the year, each with a unique cultural focus, identity, and a range of engaging activities. As a civic cultural series, Festal is unique in the world, bringing together organizations from our cultural communities to share their heritage and creative contributions with Seattle residents and to share it with the rest of the world who've been able to access the festivals online. I want to commend Festal producers and volunteers who, through these really challenging times, have maintained a platform of connection for our communities through these virtual presentations. You've persevered, venturing into new virtual worlds of music, art, movement, and cultural conversation. I wish you the very best in 2021 as you and we await a time when we really can all gather again together in person. Greetings to everyone participating in the Polish Festival Seattle and tuning into this virtual celebration of Polish culture and traditions. Our city has enjoyed a long and warm relationship with Poland through the Seattle Gdynia Sister City program, as well as academic, business, and cultural exchanges. The Polish Festival provides yet another opportunity for sharing these unique cultural experiences, and I would like to recognize the Polish American community in Seattle for preparing a rich program to share their culture, history, and accomplishments. Please accept my best, warmest regards for an enjoyable festival and continued success in the Polish American community in our city of Seattle.
Hello, I'm Robert Nellums, Director of Seattle Center. I'm happy to be offering you words of welcome to the Seattle Polish Festival, an event that is part of Seattle Center Festal. Festal is a series of 24 ethnic cultural festivals produced by community organizations in partnership with Seattle Center. Festal offers opportunities for people to come together to celebrate their culture, share their traditions, and for people from different communities to learn from one another. I am pleased to be speaking today with Alicia Lativ, producer of the Polish Festival Seattle. Thank you, Alicia, and an extended thanks to the leaders of the Seattle Polish Foundation and the Polish Home Association for presenting the Polish Festival as part of Festal now for 10 years. We believe this work through Festal has great value to the city of Seattle and the broader region. Seattle Center deeply appreciates this partnership with the Polish community, and we want to say, welcome, Alicia.
Thank you, Robert. It's really nice to be here with you.
Well, I was hoping we start out with hearing more about the Seattle Polish Foundation, which produces the Polish Festival, and the Polish Home Association, which seems to provide a lot of support to this process. Would you share a little bit about how the groups work together, what the role of the Polish Home Association is for your community, and how does producing the festival help realize the mission of the foundation?
Sure. So the Polish Home Association has been around Seattle for a long time. It was established in 1918, and it's established as a place for people to gather together and come together as a community, those of Polish nationality and descent. And the mission of the Polish Home Association is to promote and uphold Polish culture, history, and education among the people of Polish descent, as well as members of the general public in Seattle. And the association owns the Polish Cultural Center, or Dom Polski, and it's in the Central District. And so that's the place where we all gather just throughout the year and it's used for celebration, for our little mini festivals, for meals and meetings. It's also been used as a music hall for Seattle neighbors in the past, and even Jimi Hendrix played there early in his career. So the Polish community has been around for over 100 years. And then the Seattle Polish Foundation is the main Polish-American charity in Seattle and Washington State. And so the foundation's mission is to promote Polish heritage in the Pacific Northwest, which directly aligns with our festival mission.
Very cool. Anytime you can get Jimi Hendrix in there, it's very, very cool.
Yeah, we have plaque.
That's very cool. So is there a theme for this year's festival, and how will people experience it if they attend online?
Yeah, so we do have a theme for this year's festival. It's dressed for celebration. And so for our virtual festival, we will be basically taking a little tour of the many different national costumes of Poland. There are quite a few based on the different regions of Poland. And they can be quite different, all quite beautiful, and all quite celebratory, used in special occasions. I'm excited. Part of what you'll also see is a virtual costume exhibit that we were able to film at Seattle Center Studios, and we had a great time.
Oh, that's very cool. So the Polish Festival will be streaming a virtual program. And I understand we'll step back into gathering in person on a smaller level with some scheduled activities at the Polish home. What do you have to look forward to with the 2021 Polish Festival Seattle program this weekend?
So now that we're able to gather again under the latest CDC and Washington State guidelines, we're having a vodka tasting event at the Polish Hall to raise money for next year's festival, which we really hope will be in person again. Vodka tasting is a fun activity that we've had at Seattle Center for our usual festival. And so we're bringing that back this weekend. And there will also be workshops and other activities at the Polish Hall at the same time that people can stop by and enjoy and see what's going on.
Well, that's very cool. Well, Seattle Center Festal is made possible through the efforts of many community volunteers and, of course, the leaders who facilitate and organize year-round. As a leader for your community who gives so much of her own time, energy, and skill, what inspires you most about producing the Polish Festival Seattle?
Wow. So I'm a child of immigrants, and I grew up in the Polish community of Seattle. So it's really a part of my identity, being from Seattle and being of Polish heritage. And I'm passionate about giving back to my Seattle community and my Polish community. And for me, I feel very privileged being able to provide leadership for an event that provides all of us all this opportunity to learn about each other and have fun. And through this cultural awareness, we build understanding and friendship and grow together as communities. And of course, I can't end this without mentioning all of the sponsors and volunteers and Seattle Center, of course, without whose support we couldn't make this happen. We're a organization that is run 100% by volunteers, and I am continually amazed by the commitment of our Polish community. And I also want to mention being part of Seattle Center Festal is really special. There's just nothing else like it in the region and the country that I know of, and we're very privileged.
Well, thank you so much, because I will say that you being a member of Festal makes us very, very, very happy. So thank you, Elisa, for talking with me today. I wish you, your board, and leadership at the Seattle Polish Foundation and all the volunteers who helped make the festival possible all the very best this weekend. And as Alicia said, the festival is about learning about each other and having a little bit of fun. And so hopefully you will learn a little bit more about the Polish culture, have a little fun doing it, and enjoy the weekend with Alicia, the Seattle Polish Foundation, and all the volunteers who help make it possible. So thank you, Alicia. It was just great to talk to you today.
It's so nice to talk to you, Robert.
Thank you. And with
Thank
that, I hope that you enjoy the festival, enjoy all of Festal, and have a wonderful, wonderful weekend and a wonderful rest of the year.
Thank
Take
you.
care. All right. Take care.
You too.
Peace.
Welcome to Polish Festival Seattle. There are so many things to miss about being together at the Seattle Center. Set in the shadow of the Space Needle, it's a feast for the senses, with hands-on workshops, music and singing in the air, the smell and taste of delicious Polish food, and the beautiful and colorful Polish national costumes and festive dances. Today we will be presenting beautiful costumes from different regions of Poland through Polish Festival Seattle, memories, a costume exhibit, and dances. Join us for the next hour as Polish Festival Seattle presents Dressed for Celebration.
Welcome to Seattle Polish Festival 2021. My name is Paulina and I'll be your host for our virtual exhibit, Dress for Celebration.
Now, before we get too far, let's review a little bit of geography. Poland is situated in the heart of Europe. To the north is the Baltic Sea, and Poland's neighbors are Germany, Slovakia, the Czech Republic, Lithuania, Belarus, Ukraine, and Russian Kaliningrad. Like Washington State, Poland has a diverse landscape. In the north and west parts of the country, the climate is mainly maritime, with mild, humid winters and summers, while the eastern and southern part of Poland has a continental climate with colder, snowy winters and hotter, drier summers, a lot like western and eastern Washington. Poland has a variety of striking landscapes as well, from the sandy beaches of the Baltic Sea coast and the rolling central lowlands to the snowy peaks of the Carpathian and Sudeten mountains in the south. There are forests and more than 1,300 lakes throughout the country. The traditional costumes of Poland are influenced by the landscapes and climate, occupations and social status, and Poland's neighbors, among other things. And they are still worn today at weddings, religious holidays, for folk dancing, festivals, and for other special occasions. So let's get started.
Welcome to Seattle Polish Festival 2021. Today, Maciej Smusz is joining me from Karpaty Polish Folk Dance Ensemble from Salt Lake City in Utah. Maciej will be showing us his collection of traditional Polish costumes, and he will tell us more about this. Maciej, would you like to introduce yourself?
Of course. Thank you, Paulina. Hi, folks. My name is Maciej Smusz. Like Paulina said, I direct the Karpaty Polish Folk Dance Ensemble in Salt Lake City. I'm really happy to be here in Seattle to share these costumes with you and the history and the dances behind them today, from all around Poland. And I can't wait to show you what they're all about.
Would you like to start with my costume, maybe?
Yes. So the costume Paulina currently has on her, this is a costume from the region of Cuyave, which is in central Poland. The costume traditionally is very simple, made with three basic colors, blue, red, and white. You can also see this costume in different variations around the villages in pink and in yellow. but this is the most widely known one. You can see here beautiful handiwork embroidery, traditionally flower-based. If you'll turn around, you can see it on the back side as well. So very, very intricate embroidery in this region. We have this beautiful headpiece, which is almost rainbow. And you can see here, it's not a very traditional headpiece, although in central Poland, several regions, especially one we'll see later, Kurpie, you will also see a taller headpiece just like this. The costume that you currently see on the stage is from the region of Poznań. These are the costumes of the Bambry people. They migrated from Western Germany, Eastern France. The city decided that they needed inhabitants. However, they just weren't having enough population growth. And so they invited these settlers. So although the costume is very simple, it shows a lot of Western elements that they brought alongside of them. In fact, like this gigantic flower crown, this is the crowning piece of the costume. It's really something that they were proud of and something that they kept close to their hearts.
Well, why don't you tell us a little bit more about what you're wearing today?
So I'm wearing a costume from the village of Krzczonów, which is in the region of Lublin. This costume, as you can see, is very embroidered. A lot of the people that surrounded the village were Roma people, and they had very, very colorful, flashy colors, and so really they assimilated. And what was left was really jackets with this beautiful embroidery.
I realized before that you also have a matching belt. Do you mind showing it off a little bit? Because I think it's quite fancy, quite the look. Is there any symbolism behind the colors, or is it just sort of the personality and individual style?
Every single village in Poland really dictated what colors were in style. So, for example, the village of Krzczonów, which I currently have on, they decided that their main color patterns were going to be yellow, green, and red, with this exact pattern. And really that's what's fascinating about Poland, is that just jumping from village to village, even though the costume might be slightly the same, the color patterns will be different.
Several years ago, the Seattle Polish Home began its own costume collection, starting in 2007 with its magnificent gift of museum-quality coat costumes from Ms. Sylwia Skratek of Seattle. The costumes are over 100 years old and belonged originally to Ms. Skratek's grandmother. The costumes are beautifully preserved with vibrant colors. They are also very interesting as they seem to be quite unique in style, especially the vest and floral motifs. One hypothesis is that they represent the style from Lublin, as Sylwia's grandmother was born in the village Karczmiska in the Lublin province.
Moving on to our next region. As Maciek mentioned before, coming from village to village, we will see different variations of the costumes. Maciek, would you like to tell us about this costume on the stage?
Yes.
And its region?
Yes. So both of these costumes are from the region of Kashubian, which is in northwestern Poland. This costume, because Kashubian is so close to the sea, you can see striking similarities to a Norwegian bunad. Based off just the cut of the costume, and even like the style of the skirt. This one is pleated. This one's not, meaning it was a little more further away from shore, actually. As Paulina mentioned, every village has its different colors. In Kashuba, they're actually very similar. However, you can see gold embroidery on this costume and silver on this one.
So what can you tell us about the headpieces? I see they are very interesting.
Yes, so what you'll see, the one that you're holding here is essentially a bonnet, known as a czepiec, and traditionally only married women wore these. The one that you're wearing is a headband, and which traditionally only unmarried women wore. Either that or flowers.
For the meanings, they create the crowns, and they are dancing around the fire with the wreaths, with the floral wreaths, and they are dancing to evoke health, fertility, and strength. And then later on, they are going in the procession with the wreaths on to the lake, to the river, to the bay, to the sea. They put the candle in the night, and they put in the water, and they launch the flower.
They launch the flowers out.
Yes, it symbolizes love. And perhaps people who are men who are interested in a woman, sometimes they have two of them and they're checking which one's gonna win, which one is gonna stay afloat longer. So and sometimes you can even predict the marriage with that.
That's amazing. Okay, let's learn how to make them. You've
Sure.
started one for me.
Yes.
So what kind of wire is this that you've used?
So that's not traditional way to do it,
Okay.
of course, because we need to do it within a few minutes,
Right.
right? Because during the day they are doing this all for hours. This time we have a flower wire, like regular flower wire, and we cut a longer piece. Check the size of your head, while we are doing it. And that's how we start. Then you can, like this. I already start one.
You started one as well?
Yes.
If you weren't using the wire, you were doing this traditionally, how would you put it together?
If I would do the traditional, I would not even use the wire the
It
traditional
would just
way.
be the flowers.
This would be the flowers. You just would grab two type of flowers, let's say two of them, put them across and move in like that.
Wow.
But it takes time because
Yes.
you gotta go one by one, take like that, and move in like this way.
That is amazing.
Like
So
that.
what are the meanings of some of the herbs and the flowers that are involved?
So they do protect before bad luck, let's say. They also protect the women, and they also symbolize, the love they have, the love they can give. And actually, the funny thing is that sometimes the men who are attractive to the women, they are jumping to the water to grab the flower, because the summer solstice, because it all happens during this day, only once a year. That's a day when they believe they fall in love. That's the
so
night.
interesting.
And that's the only night that when they can tell freely, they can express their love, their affection to the women. So by bringing the flower back to the flower crown back to the lady, it symbolizes a big love and stability.
And a courtship. All right, how am I
Yes.
doing? I'm sort of weaving around
Okay,
the wire.
so-
What's the correct way to do this? I've sort of taken
This
off
was the-
without your
yeah.
help.
Okay, so you just grab few of the flowers you like, and you scatter them on your hand. Of course, you also have grasses. You use lavender, the beautiful herbs.
That's what I'm smelling. It smells so
you do
good.
few little bunches
Okay.
like that. You look here, few little bunches.
Just whatever you want.
Yes, you just pick what you want, but just make sure you have some grasses because it's really important to have and the herbs in your hand.
This smells so unbelievably good. It really does.
And then you have small here, and then you just
Oh, they're
pick it.
little pieces of
You
wire.
have little
Okay.
pieces. So you make small buckets here. Few of them cut. You can cut or can keep it for later. I've prepared here some.
Cut the stems off.
Yes.
And then do I use the wire to
And then-
attach it?
Yes, that's how you do. You do few
Okay.
of those. You scatter them on your hand, and then when you're ready, you just add it here.
Look at that.
And
That's
then
how you
with
get
this-
all the volume
yes.
to it.
And then
Okay.
with the-
I've got some wire and
there
I
you
can do
go.
that.
That's how.
Awesome.
And how about the embroidery in those dresses? I see there are some similarities between them.
Yes, so what you'll see on these costumes is a very traditional Kashubian embroidery, and Kashubians love to embroider everything they see. So you can see shirts embroidered, the vests, the aprons, really everything. And the richer the embroidery, the richer the person. What you'll see here is very traditional flowers in Kashubi style, very popular in Poland right now. And all of these flowers and colors meant different things.
Kashubian embroidery is the hallmark of Kashubia. Traditional motifs are references to flowers, tulips, pansies, lilies, roses, and forget-me-nots. And every color has a symbolic meaning connected with the legend of the creation of Kashubia. Cornflower blue symbolizes the beautiful Kashubian lakes. Blue is the color of the sky. Dark blue is like the depth of the sea. Yellow reflects the color of wheat ripening in fields and the sun. Green stands for forests full of game. Red symbolizes the blood that connects every Kashubian and has been spilt for protection of the land. Brown and black are like soil ready to be planted.
So typically for Polish traditional costumes, you see a lot of red beads. In this one specifically, we have the yellow stones. Would you like to tell us about them?
Yes, these yellow stones are very characteristic Polish amber, which came from the sea.
Okay, well, thank you. Our next costume is from Kurpie. Maciek, would you like to tell us more about it?
Of course. This dress is from the region of Kurpie, which is generally subdivided into two regions, Biała Puszcza and Zielona Puszcza, which translates generally into white wilderness and green wilderness. The costume that we have on display today is from the green wilderness. As you can see, we have a corset, which is unlike a lot of Polish corsets in that it's a lot more rectangular. We also see several other elements, like this embroidery on the shirt and the amber beads, which I'll explain the significance of in just a little bit.
And how about the skirt over here?
Yes, the blue skirt here, so they really liked dramatic colors, really something vibrant with red stripes, but they also wore plaid skirts in this region.
I see. And what are the significant differences between the green and white kurpie?
So the white kurpie is almost a misnomer because the costumes are generally green.
Is the headpiece something that both of the region would have?
So actually, the headpiece, this is a very characteristic headpiece for the ladies. They wear it just like this up on top of their heads. And it's really meant to make the lady look even taller. What you'll see here is flowers on the side. You can also, so there's any number of flowers, plus any number of peacock feathers, as you'd want, and plenty of ribbons as well.
I see. And you mentioned the necklace before. I know we talked about Kashubi, and that's where amber is from. Why is it significant for this region?
So this region, they imported the amber, and they did a lot of amber work in this region. They were also expert honey harvesters and woodsmen.
Hi, Seattle. This is Lyconic from Tucson. We always loved going to your festival whenever it happened, and since it's virtual this year, we're throwing some videos your way and hoping to see you guys in person next year. So we've got our shirts on and we've got a poster. So yeah, enjoy the videos.
Up next is Wuevich, one of the most popular costumes in Poland. Maciek, would you like to tell us about what you guys are wearing?
These are the costumes from the village of Wuevich. These are, one of the most popular costumes, most widely known in Polish dance. Mostly due to their embroidery and really to their striking orange color on the men and the vibrant colors on the skirt of the woman. The colors that you see there, the stripes, they're known as pasiaki. These stripes vary village to village, and in Wuevich it was really central to these colors. If you'll give us a spin, those stripes are essential to Wuevich. However, if you go to the villages surrounding it, you'll see that the color schemes vary slightly.
And how about the roses? I see they are just all over the costume.
Yes, the roses were a development in 1850, about the 1850s. And the roses, the villagers found they really loved them, and they decided to incorporate them in the costumes, just really everywhere, on the vest, on the shirt, on the apron, and on the dress.
You mentioned that they incorporated the roses in 19th century. Mm-hmm. What was it before? Did they still use embroidery, or?
Yes, they used a lot of embroidery. However, the embroidery was it was plain. This is what you see up here is known as Ruski haft, meaning almost a Russian haft, although it is a uniquely Polish design. The Polish one, Polski haft, was more of a straight stitch, almost X's and straight lines, and it was still beautiful, but this is what they decided was what they ended up with.
How about your costume? I see the stripes are slightly different. Do you know where that difference is coming from?
Yes. So in the men's costume, you'll see a slight similarity to, if you've ever seen Marine's outfit, it's about the same. This was all from the Papal Guard, basically in Rome. So when the Papal Guard came through, they also had striped pants, similar to this. But then the villagers said, okay, we really like orange, but we still want to keep the stripes, and we really like the vests as well. So they incorporated elements of the Papal Guard costume and made it their own.
That is incredible. I did not know that. How about the hat? Because this hat is also very interesting. I see some flowers going on, a lot of sparkles.
Yes. So this hat, there's a couple different versions of the Wuevich hat. This hat in particular it likens to the costume of the woman. So you can see the roses on here as well as the flowers, just to entice the woman. Hey, I have a soft side. Come dance with me. So that's the history behind this hat.
Okay. Thank you, Maciej, for the information. Thank you, Alicia, for joining us.
Up next, we have costumes from the city of Rzeszów and its vicinities. On stage, you see a man and a woman in the costumes of Rzeszów. Paulina is displaying the costume of a married woman. What's really interesting about this is that really the costumes are very embroidered. So you can see anywhere from Paulina's vest to her shirt to her headscarf, everything is embroidered with the general pattern of blue, red, and even greens. Next to Paulina is Kimit, who is modeling costume from Rzeszów. The costume is traditionally blue with colorful pom-poms and embroidery on the pockets and on the sides of the pants.
Next in our exhibit will be Krakowiak, which is one of Poland's national costumes. Maciek, you're wearing Krakowiak right now. Can you please describe your attire?
Yes. So the Krakowski costume is one of the most recognizable Polish costumes, not the most recognizable. It has a very patriotic element popularized by Tadeusz Kościuszko, a Revolutionary War fighter in the US, but also a patriot for Polish independence.
I see in your hat there's a bunch of peacock feathers. What is the story behind those? Because I believe that's the most impressive part of the costume.
So the peacock feathers are an important part of this costume, and because Kraków was an important trading center, and peacock feathers were known to be a valuable commodity. If you had these, that meant you were rich or wealthy. If you guys see these jingle jangles on the side, these make noise. So when you're dancing, these will, if you can hear that, they can jingle.
Well, now you just have to show us a couple steps.
Oh, so so the Krakowiak, which comes from the city of Kraków, is a very traditional Polish dance from the city. Almost every Polish child learns this as a kid. It starts with a very simple step, what's known as tvał, meaning it's just a gallop. And if you listen in, you'll be able to hear the jingle jangle, and it'll remind you of horses running through a field. We're gonna go.
Well, that was great. I also heard that the jingle jangles on your belt symbolize the wealth just as well as peacock feathers.
So these also are meant to sound like coins. And if you have coins in your pocket, for example, while you're dancing, it might just sound like this as well. So it symbolizes wealth. The woman's Kraków costume is heavily embroidered. The people of the city were generally pretty well off. This is a vest from a village called Bronowice, which is not too far from Kraków. As you can see, there's a lot of embellishments, a lot of embroidered elements, and ruffles similar to the men's costume.
And what about the prints on the dress?
So this is a material known as Tibet. It was imported over from the east, and really, it's this floral pattern that was really popular in Poland at the time. This material comes in all kinds of colors, anywhere from your greens to your blues to reds to whites, although the more vibrant colors are more popular nowadays. Another important element of the Kraków costume, on the skirt here you can see 3 rows of stripes. Ladies usually embellish their skirts with these stripes so that during the dance it would just give it a little more interesting look. So the flower wreath, as is traditional in most Polish costumes, is generally worn by young unmarried women. Once you get married, you get elevated and you don't have to show your hair anymore, and you get to put on a headscarf. As for the scarf, plaid was a very popular choice for scarves in Kraków.
Hej, od Krakowa jadę, dalekiej obce strony, bo mi nie chcieli dać dziewczyny ulubionej, bo mi nie chcieli dać osady na dziewczyny ulubionej. Tej szerokim gościńcem pojedzie busa wozem i jak mi cię nie dadzą, no to popłynę se morzem. Jak mi cię nie dadzą osady, no to popłynę se morzem. Hej, popłynę se morzem, o utopię się Wiśle, żebyś ty wiedziała, posadyna, jak ja o tobie myślę, żebyś ty wiedziała, jak ja o tobie myślę, jak ja o tobie myślę i myśleć nie przestanę, przy tobie dziewczyno, posadyna, na zawsze pozostanę, przy tobie dziewczyno, na zawsze pozostanę.
The next set of costumes we're presenting today are from Spiech, which is in southern Poland at the border of Poland and Slovakia. In the region of Spiech, we have two different variations of costumes. The one that Paulina is currently wearing is generally worn around the city of Jurgów. They love their reds and golds, and traditionally they had very short shirts and beautiful, beautiful apron. The men's costume is very idyllic of most mountaineer costumes in Poland. The pants that Kimmit is currently wearing are known as portki. They have some very ornament elements on them. In fact, there's two very special things right on his pants. So up here, you see parzenice. These are very significant mountain markings based on the village that you come from. Each village has their own style of parzenice. And then on the bottom, you also see pompons near the place where the pants split. On stage, we have the representative costumes from the Grand Duchy of Warsaw, known in Polish as the Księstwo Warszawskie. Paulina is wearing a dress from that era, and Kimit is wearing the costume of an ułan. An ułan was a cavalier in the Polish army fighting for independence in the early 18th century. Poland was fighting for its independence and took inspiration from Napoleon's army. And therefore, these outfits that we see here are very, very similar to those of Napoleon's soldiers. Closest to me, Paulina is wearing a dress, most symbolic of the era. The dress features a high waistline in order to make a really flowing appearance while she moves. The dances most commonly danced in these costumes are Polonaise and Mazur.
Another costumes we will learn about today is Polish nobility. Maciek and Alicia are wearing male and female versions of the costume.
The costume that we currently have on is the costume of the Polish nobility, known as the Szlachta. You can see very rich embroidery and silk on the men, as well as on the women. Another thing you'll notice on our costumes is specially cut sleeves. On both of our costumes, traditionally, to make it easier for dance. Our costumes are, if you can't tell, they're very warm. These are generally worn during the winter.
So normally, what fabric would be used for the costumes?
Very expensive fabric, first of all, from the East. One of the things that you'll see, because these are winter costumes, is Alicia has a trim on her costume that is generally made of either mink or rabbit or fox.
You mentioned those are winter costumes. Is it typically used for special occasions, or is it something you would wear on a daily?
These are generally reserved for special occasions. These costumes are meant for the ball, and really, if you can't tell at home, we are very warm in these costumes. The nobility like to go on hunts in these costumes, as well as they used to go sleigh riding in these costumes.
Can you tell us more about your hat as well?
So traditionally, both the men and the women would wear a similar hat, enveloped in either fox or rabbit fur, with a brooch in the middle, except the men would also wear big feathers, traditionally pheasant feathers.
The Polish community has been very fortunate to have our own professional costume baker in Seattle, Basia Niesulowska. Many of her creations are worn by groups and individuals throughout the area. For several years before her retirement, a highlight of Polish Festival Seattle was the costume fashion show, where Basia showcased her beautiful designs.
In the Opoczno region, I made this outfit of wool, striped wool, blues and greens, striped full skirt finished with navy edge, and a blouse made of scarf with embroidered color. Strój świętokrzyski, costume świętokrzyski. Wool with woven tape, linen apron, wool vest embroidered, sequences, tapes, and special headpiece.
Basia has hand sewn, beaded, and
Rzeszów
embroidered
region.
many unique pieces.
The outfit of vest, skirt, apron, headpiece. This is the apron and embroidery sequences of the vest. Cotton blouse, full skirt, finished with colorful ribbons, lining. Details of Silesia outfit from Bytom region. Apron, vest, headpiece. My background is in engineering. I graduated with Master Science degree in Materials Technology from Politechnika Poznańska, so I had nothing to do with sewing then, but I always loved Polish folk art, and when I went to high school in Poland, I danced in a folk dancing group for 2 years. When I migrated to USA and working as a designer of porcelain dolls and puppets, I started to think of making Polish folk costumes. My dream was to dress Polonia for bazaars, for events. I imagined many people in these beautiful outfits for the whole world to see. I taught myself how to sew by reading literature, by watching films. I really wanted to make unique Polish costume inspired by costume for people like me who had parents from different Polish regions. So I couldn't wear Silesia outfit or Rzeszów outfit. I wanted something combined, something reminding of Polish costume, but for people from different sides of Poland. Basia costume design was my business for many years. I had sewn and beaded and embroidered many unique pieces. Very, very proud of my Polish heritage, and I'm enchanted by the beauty of Polish folklore. Most people think of Polish costume from Wuevich, from Silesia, from Rzeszów, from Krakow. They're very familiar with them, but there's over 50 regions of Polish costume where you can recognize different costumes from. And when we had first Polish festival, I decided to make a few costumes from these less known regions to introduce new colors, to introduce new patterns. At every show we added new pieces, new themes, new customs. Every fashion show has to end with a bride. So for the very first fashion show I did, for first festival, Polish festival, I decided to make a bride from Rzeszów region, inspired by Rzeszów region, not exactly. She could be universal folk girl from Poland to match a noble man, a young man, in his noble outfit. But not only I wanted to show the outfits, I wanted to also show some custom, some Polish custom. So the last theme when the bride comes out is very typical for Polish gallantry. The outfit I made of 100% wool for the vest, all beaded, embroidered. Details are here with lace. Silk blouse, finished with laces. All the details. skirt made of 10 yards of raw silk and hundreds of sequences, beads on it, and lace. Finished with lace on the bottom, on the skirt. Quite beautiful bride. She did a beautiful outfit.
That will be all we have for today. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Maciek, for sharing your collection and knowledge. Thank you, Seattle Center, for hosting the festival. And thank you for everyone who's been involved in making it come together this year. Dziękujemy, że byliście tu dzisiaj z nami. Dziękujemy! I should have listened.
Thanks for joining us. We hope you enjoyed this video and hope to see you in person in 2022. Mamy nadzieję, że podobał Ci się ten film. Do zobaczenia w przyszłym roku.
Your mama,